ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमः विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते तमालकृष्णगोस्वामी इति नामिने। नमः विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामी इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। So today is very auspicious day. Today is the disappearance day of Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj and Rasikananda Prabhu, and also our dear Gurudev, srilaprabhupada Maharaj. So I met Srila Gurudev here in Vrindavan in 81. No, in the beginning of 82, I joined here in Vrindavan in 81, and I was very much impressed by seeing the video which you were seeing few hours before, gods, demigods and incarnations. And I was very much impressed by seeing this video, and I actually became attracted to Srila Gurudev by seeing this video. And later on, when I met with him in Mayapur, so that time Guru Maharaj was wearing one tabiz, what is a kavach, on his neck. So I had some impression about this kavach. I was thinking that generally in India people, they wear this kavach to get rid of some bad spirits and other things. So then I was thinking that Srila Gurudev was a pure devotee of Krishna. Then what was the need for him to wear this kavach? Krishna was always protecting his devotees. So that doubt was in my mind only, but I had not expressed to anyone. So one day I had gone to meet Srila Gurudev in Mayapur, and that was noon time, and after GBC meeting, Srila Gurudev was going to take bath in the Ganges every day at noon time after the GBC meeting. So on that day he called me with him to go to the Ganges, and some of his god brothers were also going to Ganges to take a bath. So I held Gurudev's clothes, then I was walking behind him, then we went to the Ganges, and then in the Ganges there are Jayapataka Maharaj, Sivram Maharaj, all these Maharajas were there. So Srila Gurudev also entered into Ganges water, and they had nice talk, and then I saw Guru Maharaj with Jayapataka Maharaj started swimming in the Ganges. And we know the flow of the Ganges is very swift in Mayapur. But still, Srila Gurudev was very good swimmer. I had never known. So he was swimming with Jayapataka Maharaj, and they are going in the middle of the Ganges. So then they came back, and the other God brothers were still taking bath. Then Gurudev wanted to come back early. So he came back from the water. Then he changed his clothes, and then we walked back to his room in the guest house. So Gurudev went inside to put his tilak, and I was waiting outside of the room in the at the secretary's desk. Then Gurudev called me from inside the room. So then when I went inside, so Gurudev said, go and call Sachidulal and you also come with him. So Sachidulal Prabhu was his servant at that time. So then I came back and called Sachidulal Prabhu, then we both went inside. And by that time, Srila Gurudev had already finished putting his tilak. Then he held that tabiz which he was wearing on his neck. He held that tabiz on his hand and showed us. And asked both of us, Sachidulal Prabhu and myself, do you know what is inside this kavach or tabiz, whatever we say? Then we both said, we don't know what is inside. And factually, I had that doubt also in my mind. So then, Guru Maharaj opened that kavach, and then he showed to us. And we saw something white inside that kavach. Then he again asked us, do you know what is inside? While he was showing us. Then we could not figure it out what was inside. Then we said, no, we don't know. Then he told us that you don't tell to my God brothers, they will become envious of me. So this is the truth of Srila Prabhupada. He showed us, then closed the covers, then told us, okay, now you go back. And I was very much surprised because I had this doubt to know what was inside. And that was Prabhupada's truth. Srila Gurudev had collected Prabhupada's truth and kept in that covers and wearing on his neck. Then both of us, Sachidulal Prabhu and myself, we both came out from the room. And then I told Sachidulal Prabhu that, Prabhuji, you know, I had a doubt about this covers. I did not know what was inside. So I was thinking what was inside and why Gurudev was wearing. But how Gurudev knew my mind, I was asking him. That he called us and then he showed the Prabhupada's truth inside. And I have never told anyone about this thing, about my doubt. Then Sachidulal Prabhu told me that I had also the same doubt. And I had also not told anyone. So then I realized that how the spiritual master Guru knows the heart of the disciple. And because he is representing Paramatma, so he knows the heart of the disciple. And though we have never expressed, both of us, Srilaprabhupada and myself, we had never expressed our doubt to anyone, but Srila Gurudev called both of us and clarified our doubt in one stroke. So then my faith in him increased more and more. And then another time, I was serving Srila Gurudev here in Vrindavan. And then we all know that Srila Gurudev was very particular in prasad serving. Because Srila Prabhupada has taught him how to serve prasadam. So Srila Gurudev was also, by his mercy, he was allowing us to serve prasadam to him. And when Srila Gurudev would eat, he would not eat alone. Every time he would call some of his god brothers who would be in Vrindavan at that time to accompany him for prasadam. So some of his god brothers were also there, and if any disciple serving prasadam made any mistake, he would chastise right there in front of everyone. To teach the disciple, he would do that. And that's why some of the disciples, they were very afraid of him to serve prasadam. So, when I was serving prasadam, some mistake was done by me because we did not know the sequence of serving different items. So Gurudev chastised me also in front of everyone. And then prasadam was over. Gurudev went back to his room to take rest. But before taking rest, he asked another of my god brother that asked whether Gaurnaran has taken prasadam or not. So that god brother went, and because that day I had not taken prasadam, I had some problem, stomach problem. So generally after Guru Maharaj takes prasadam, then we used to take prasadam. So that day I did not take. Then Guru Maharaj asked that devotee that whether Gaurnaran took prasadam or not. Then he said, no, he has not taken. Then Guru Maharaj immediately called me. So he was thinking about me because he had chastised me. So what was, how did I take that chastisement? How was I thinking? He was also thinking on it. So he called me and then he asked me, did you take prasadam? I said, Guru Maharaj, no, I have not taken. Then he asked, why? Why you have not taken? Then I said, I have some stomach problem, that's why I have not taken. Then he said, okay. Then he said, okay, you go back. So he wanted to make it sure that I was not taking prasadam because of his chastisement. That he wanted to know. That's why he was very concerned about the disciple. Even if Guru has to do this thing, this is actually a thankless task to teach the disciples. Disciples would make many mistakes, and Guru has to sometimes chastise them to teach them. Because what happens when I was also thinking that when we make any mistake and Guru Maharaj chastises us, so I was thinking that what is the need of chastisement? Guru Maharaj simply can tell us that you don't do this, you do this way. Simply he would have told us. Then one day, I had one lecture. Guru Maharaj was speaking about Prabhupada. and how Prabhupada was chastising the disciples to teach them. Guru Maharaj was describing about that. So then I understood that Guru Maharaj has learned this thing from Srilaprabhupada. Prabhupada was chastising his disciples to correct them. So Guru Maharaj, same way, he was also chastising us to correct us. And then in another day, I had some realization about one of my disciples. That was in Govardhan. We are doing, after Tulsi Arati, we are doing Tulsi Parikrama. And that disciple, while doing Parikrama, his body was touching Tulsi Maharani. And the disciple, he did not realize or he did not know. And I was walking behind him. So I saw this, his body is touching Tulsi Maharani. Then I told him silently that your body is touching Tulsi Maharani, be careful. I told him nicely. Then I was expecting that when taking another round, his body would not touch. But the same thing again happened. His body again touched Tulsi Maharani's branches. So then I realized why Guru Maharaj was chastising us. So to tell a disciple nicely, he will not remember. He will not take it seriously. And the proof is this disciple, I told him nicely to stay away from Tulsi Maharani, his body would not touch Tulsi Maharani. But again he was doing the same mistake. So I took him aside, then with raised voice I chastised him to be careful not to touch Tulsi Maharani. And then when I chastised him, then next time he was okay. He was working nicely, his body was not touching. So I realized that how chastisement is necessary for the disciples to teach them. And Guru Maharaj was personally trained by Srila Prabhupada. That's why he was doing the same thing with disciples, to teach them. Another time, that was in Bombay, and generally we think when we get a new cloth from the market, generally in India, generally we think it is pure. When you get new cloth, we think it is pure. But one time Guru Maharaj was in Bombay. He was coming to Bombay, then I had purchased 2 bed sheets for him. One bed sheet was washed, another was just new, fresh, not washed. So to prepare Guru Maharaj's bed, I told one devotee to put the bed sheet, but he put the new bed sheet on his bed, which was not washed. Then when Guru Maharaj went to take rest, he saw the new bed sheet on his bed. Then he called me. And then he asked me that how cloth is purified. He was not talking about bed sheet. He was asking me how cloth is purified. Then I told, by washing cloth is purified. Then he showed me the bed sheet. He said, is it washed? Then I saw that that devotee has put the new bed sheet. Then I told Guru Maharaj, this is new and that devotee has put this by mistake. I have kept a washed one for you. Then I personally changed that bed sheet and put the washed one. So I was thinking that time that how Srila Prabhupada has trained his disciples. when all these details of Vedic culture. In India, many people don't know that when you purchase a new cloth, then you have to first wash it and then wear or use. In India, people don't know. But Srila Prabhupada has taught the disciples and Guru Maharaj. He was very particular in all these things. And actually, I learned from Guru Maharaj this thing. That new clothes have to be washed before use. So, another time, that was in Vrindavan, I was serving Guru Maharaj, and after Vrindavan, Guru Maharaj was supposed to go to Mayapur. And I was supposed to go before Guru Maharaj to prepare his room at Mayapur. And then before leaving for Mayapur, I went to Guru Maharaj and paid my obeisances and asked forgiveness from him. I told him that Guru Maharaj, while serving you, I have committed many mistakes. Please forgive me. Then Guru Maharaj told me that you cannot commit any mistakes. Or you cannot commit any offense. If by chastising you, I have committed any offense, please forgive me. So this was the humility Srila Gurudev was showing in front of a disciple. And when I heard that from Guru Maharaj's mouth, tears rolled down from my eyes. That how Srila Gurudev was so humble. Though outwardly everyone knows he is very heavy, but within his heart he was so humble. His heart was just like a soft rose. So for teaching disciples or teaching devotees, sometimes he would become heavy. But his heart was always very soft and compassionate. And then I realized that how Guru Maharaj was thinking always about the disciples and other devotees, and how he could help them to make advancement in spiritual life. He was always concerned about that. That's why one time he told me that I am not interested to accept many disciples. I can only accept those many disciples whom I can really take care of. And that he did. He was not after disciples, but he was always thinking how to train up the disciples, they can become good devotees of Krishna and become an asset in the mission of Srila Prabhupada. Another time in Govardhan, that was when we got that Govardhan palace. So Guru Maharaj sent me there to take care of that place. And when we went there was no facility there. The building was in a dilapidated condition. There was no water, no electricity, no room to stay. And there was bushes outside of the building, inside the building, and snakes were everywhere. So in that condition we went there to take care of that property. And we arrived there in the evening to take the possession, then came back to Vrindavan to take our belongings, then again went back around 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. It was all dark, no electricity. And we entered in a room which was full of dust, and we did not know what was inside that room. Any animals, serpents or whatever. We just put our mat and we slept. And in the morning we got up, there was no water to even wash our face. So in that condition, we lived there. And next morning, Guru Maharaj arrived there. And he took me around and showed me what to do in the garden, what to do for the building. He instructed me. So then after that he was supposed to go to Mayapur for GBC meeting, and he told me, you get this place ready, after GBC meeting I will come back. So that was a very difficult task for me to get that place at least ready for Guru Maharaj, but that was also not up to the standard for Guru Maharaj. But somehow or other, with that simple standard, Guru Maharaj loved to stay there in Govardhan. Some of you might have seen also the picture where Guru Maharaj is sitting on a mat on the roof of Govardhan building, and he was chanting his japa in complete absorption, facing towards Giriraj Govardhan. He loved that place and he wanted to do his bhajan there. So one time, Guru Maharaj told me to take him to Rasasthali. And that time we had no vehicle in Govardhan. We had only one scooter Guru Maharaj told me to purchase, because I was coming every day from Govardhan to Mathura for some work, official work, because when we took the possession of that property in Govardhan, there was a school which was occupying 3/4 of that building. We were only in possession of 1/4 of that building. So I was going every day to Mathura. Every morning I will go, whole day I will stay in the offices, come back in the evening. That was my duty, to vacate that school from that place. So Guru Maharaj, that's why I was traveling in public transport. So Guru Maharaj, out of his mercy, told me to purchase a scooter so I can use that for traveling. So Guru Maharaj told me that you take me to Rasasthali. And we had that scooter only there. So after morning breakfast, Guru Maharaj sat in scooter's back and I was driving the scooter, took him to Rasasthali. And after we got down at Rasasthali, Guru Maharaj told me that you go back to the ashram. Then I asked Guru Maharaj, how you will come back to ashram? Then he said, you don't worry, I will come back. Then I have to come back with the scooter. And Guru Maharaj went there to do his bhajan alone. And that time Rasasthali was a very nice place, full of trees, bushes, and very solitary place. So Guru Maharaj stayed there. I came back to the ashram. Then it was around 12:30, 1 o'clock. Prasad was ready, lunch was ready for Guru Maharaj. And Guru Maharaj did not come back by that time. So I was going to the roof of the building and watching towards the road that whether Guru Maharaj was coming back or not. I did not see him. Then I was thinking that the time is passing by, his lunch time is passing by. So I came down, then went to the road to see if Guru Maharaj was coming. Then to my surprise, I saw one tractor was coming on the road and it was passing in front of our main gate, and some people were sitting in the back of the tractor. Then the tractor stopped after our main gate. When the tractor stopped, then I looked at this tractor. Then I saw Guru Maharaj was coming down from the tractor. He was standing behind the tractor. He was not even sitting. Like the Brajvasis, they sometimes travel. Some people they sit in the back of the tractor, some people stand also in the back. He was standing in the back of the tractor. So then he came down. Then I saw Guru Maharaj. I smiled. Then Guru Maharaj also smiled, seeing me. Then we came to the ashram. Then Guru Maharaj took prasadam. But then I realized how Guru Maharaj was very simple at heart. He wanted to become like Brajvasis. He had this Brajabhav within his heart. Though he was traveling all around the world preaching Krishna consciousness, but his heart was in Vrindavan. And he always wanted to become a Brajvasi. That's why when he was coming to Braja, he was living in very simple way. We see in Vrindavan his room, very small room. I was showing to some of our disciples. Guru Maharaj was staying in that room, very small room, without AC, without cooler. He was staying in that room. So, that time when Guru Maharaj was in Govardhan, so that time when he had gone from here, he had rented a taxi. So while coming back, I was going to arrange a taxi for Guru Maharaj to come back to Vrindavan. Then Guru Maharaj said, don't arrange any taxi for me. Then I asked Guru Maharaj, how would you go back to Vrindavan? Then he said that I will go by public transport. So then I told Guru Maharaj, public transport is very crowded. Because I used to travel by public transport. I know. And it's very crowded. You will not be able to even get a seat, proper seat to travel. Then he said, you don't worry. I will go by public transport. So then that time public transport means no bus. Only that big three-wheelers, tempo, that make a huge sound. That was the mode of transportation in Vrindavan. Vrindavan, Govardhan, whole area. And the driver would make people sit. If there are 3 seats, he would put 4-5 people in 3 seats. In that way, people travel in public transport. And I knew this thing that Guru Maharaj will be inconvenienced. So then I came with Guru Maharaj, and then I arranged a seat next to the driver in the front. Because in front seat, generally there is one seat with next to the driver, but generally they put 2 persons in one seat. And in the back of the temple, that is extremely crowded. So I went to the driver and I arranged that one seat next to the driver. But I know that he would put another person to get more money. So I gave Guru Maharaj fare plus another extra fare to that driver. So he would not put another person next to Guru Maharaj. And I told the driver that don't put anyone, and I am paying that money. What money you would get from putting another person, I am giving. In that way, I sent Guru Maharaj from Govardhan to Vrindavan. So, how he was very simple and wanted to always remain simple like Brajvasis. And in that way he was living here. Though he was a great scholar and he was also doing his PhD, and he had written so many books on philosophy, and then on his diary also, Tikaji diary, Final Pastimes of Prabhupada. He has written so many dramas also. Final Pastimes of Prabhupada is a drama. First drama is Jagannath Priya Natakam. He had written Sanskrit drama in English language. Maybe that is the first drama, I think, in English with Sanskrit style. And then so many spiritual novels. Servant of the Servant is just like a novel. So, very inspiring books. And he was very good speaker. Also, we saw that in God's demigods and incarnations. So, in all respects, Srila Gurudev was fully trained up by Srila Prabhupada, and he also acted in that level to set the example for others, so others would be inspired to pursue Krishna consciousness according to Srila Prabhupada's standards. So on this day, we also know that Srila Gurudev, how he left his body in Mayapur Dham, and Srila Prabhupada says in Bhagavad Gita in one purport, 8th chapter, last verse purport, that whether one leaves his body in a normal way or by accident, if it does not matter what way one leaves the body, but what consciousness he has at the time of leaving the body. That is very important. And Srila Gurudev was, when that accident happened, he was chanting. Chanting his rounds, and we saw that his body was completely intact. Only his backside of the brain, it was hit by that seat of that vehicle. And there are some scars and some blood was coming only here in this left hand. And whole body, face, everything was intact. So, we can assume that Srila Gurudev was chanting, and in that state he left his body, went back to Srila Prabhupada, to the spiritual world, to help Srila Prabhupada and serve Krishna. So on this day we pray at his lotus feet to bestow his mercy on us, by which we can get a little bit of his dedication and devotion to Srila Prabhupada and to Lord Krishna. Then our life will become successful. Hare Krishna. Jai Sri Gurudev ki.